Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Bria here, your life coach, and I want to welcome you to my channel if you're new here. Thank you for dropping by. Thank you for spending your time here. If you haven't subscribed, please do hit subscribe, hit the notification bell icon as well, where you can get notified every time I upload a video. So without further ado, allow me to get into today's content. It's all about overcoming fear and the steps we need to take to do so. So I'm a big example of overcoming fear, and I want to share some things that work for me. I did make some notes so I wouldn't forget anything, because sometimes we think we could store everything up here, but we really can't. So I will be sharing some things that work for me, and hopefully you can give them a try. And also, if you have overcome fear, please do share in the comments some of the tips that I might not have mentioned in my video. What worked for you? Okay, so let's get right into it. Thank you so much again once for being here and listening. Okay, so the first thing we want to talk about is, what is fear? Okay, what is fear? Maybe perhaps you can ask yourself this question. And for me, how I would word that, I would say that when I hear the word fear, what comes to mind is harm, danger, pain, uncomfortness. And these are some of the things that comes to mind that, and we as human, we are wired that way, to resist fear, resist danger or uncomfortness. We want to be comfortable, right? So that is what comes to mind when I hear the word fear, right? Share your definition of fear. When you hear the word fear, share what you think or what comes to mind in the comments below. I would love to hear what you feel or what you think. Okay, so in simple terms, it's basically those thoughts of something that scares us. If we look at it on that note, it makes us anxious. It scares us because it's something we would have never done. That's music break, right? Don't mind me. So it's something I have to deal with every day. So I have learned to accept it and not get irritated. Okay, so that's what comes to mind when we say fear, because it's something we would have never done, and to step out of our comfort zone, it scares us, right? It makes us feel anxious, especially when we don't know what to expect, right? Now let's talk about how we can get out of fear and some of the possible steps we can take to overcome it. But before we go into that, let's talk about one question that we can ask ourselves, and this applies to you as well. Where does fear comes from? Okay, fear can derive from many things, but I would love to hear you journal it for your own personal reflection, and you can have a read, after, what you think, or what are some of the perspective sources that drives fear in your life. Again, I'm saying these are what I feel during my time when I was very, very fearful. Not so fearful now, but still there's some fear. We all have fear at some point, but I've overcome it to some extent, right? And if I was to answer this, it would be past events that factor fear, childhood traumas, childhood incidents, things that might have had a huge impact on us, and perhaps something that has been told by someone. Have you ever had a fear where someone said, it's scary to go in the jungle or have an adventure or climb a mountain? Sometimes it's just the case, that's just the case, that you heard this from someone, that they failed to climb the mountain or failed to camp, and they, these things happen, right? And sometimes that is just it, and it makes us so fearful that we would not attempt to do that thing that we might have a really good desire or passion to do so. So the first thing, like I said, let's talk about how we can begin to stop, possibly overcome fear, because it's important that we overcome fear if we want to thrive and grow in our life. So the first thing you have to do is you have to identify your fear. Okay, so you have to, this is probably an exercise for you to do. Ask yourself these questions, like, where does your fear come from? For us, it will come from different places, right? Identify your fear. Start to question it if it's a fact or not. And this one would be very, very specifically related to those who might have had failures, who think they're right. Or it might not be a fact what they're saying. They just heard it from some television or some series or from another person perhaps, and they're sharing that down to you. So it becomes kind of a rumor, we would say. So start to question if it's a fact or not. Many times we listen to the fears of others and we become fearful of doing the things we love. And this is the point I was mentioning, that we tend to take advice and listen what others are saying, and we tend to move our life in that direction. And what we need to start to understand is to be more self-aware and self-conscious and listen to our own gut, follow our intuition, follow our own dreams, because there are good people and there are bad people in our life who will try to detour us from our path that we would want to be on. So it's all about starting to question yourself when you are listening to another person. Is this a fact? Is this true? Will this apply to me as well, because that person didn't succeed or they weren't able to do it? We are all different beings. We are all here for a different purpose. All right, so these are some of the things that you can start to question yourself, especially if you're very passionate about something and growing yourself. Then you have to take those steps, that stepping out of your sweet zone or your uncomfortable zone or your comfort zone into the uncomfortable, because that's where growth is, right? Learn to measure the circumstances of fear. Many of the time we just say, oh, that didn't happen, it's not going to happen. I fear that I might lose my life, or might break my leg, or I might lose a lot of money. These are things that because we hear it from others, or maybe we would have had an experience in the past, it tends to stop us or block us. It becomes a barrier. But this is one thing I learned from a book called it's called Atomic Habits, and it's one of the nuggets of wisdom they share is that as humans we will try and we will fail, but that shouldn't stop us. on our next try, because we have learned from the very first try, we will take a different route. So this also applies to when you're measuring circumstances of fear rather than others' opinion. So you have to be very aware and conscious of what you're doing, and doesn't really believe that it will happen exactly the same as it did before. The next thing is that you have to switch to a positive mindset. Practice mindful exercises and engage in positive self-talk. If you constantly, tell yourself, I can't do this because Mr. XYZ said so, and because that happened in the past, then that's what you're feeding in your mind. And if you haven't seen my video on the secrets, it shares a lot about and tells us how we can start to shift our mindset into a more positive, uplifting, enlightening, confident state of mind. And so you have to engage in this. Like if you're going bungee jumping, remember you have to do some breathing. Breathing is a very, very, very important and sits with us day in, day out, every sec of our life. So you have to do some breathing, talk to yourself, and if you have a friend, that might be helpful. But if you're alone, just imagine if you're alone, you have to be able. So the second thing that you can start to switch to a positive mindset and talk yourself into it, right? Positive self-talk and affirmation is another powerful tool in personal development that I use day in and day out. And I think, every person should have a set of affirmation and have time block out in the day where you talk to yourself, like Mel Robbins idea of high-fiving yourself in the mirror. When we don't have anyone to high-five us, we high-five ourselves. Okay, so that's another great way to uplift and keep being positive. The third thing is believing yourself, and this will not happen easily because it will take long. If you have a strong passion and a desire for that thing which you fear of doing, right, you will start to take the steps that are necessary for you to get there. For example, as I'm very passionate about doing something adventurous, like for me, and I have to start. I love watching a lot of adventure movies and learning the tricks how to survive and these kind of things, and what you need to do when you're in that moment. Because if you're trying it for the first time, definitely you will have some sort of fear and anxiety. What if this goes wrong? So you have to start to believe, especially if you're very passionate about it. Believe in yourself and start to take those little actions that will help make you stronger and build yourself to do it. Because if you don't do it, who else is going to do it? It's your passion, it's your vision, your goal. So that's the third thing. You have to believe, and you have to have a strong passion for it, for you to, for it to drive you to do so. The fourth thing is to persevere. Push yourself out of your comfort zone and build your confidence and your courage. I briefly touch on that, but it all starts with you. If you don't push yourself and you remain in that comfort zone, in that sweet space, then you're going to be there. You're not going to achieve anything that you want to, or step out into the uncomfortness. And that again starts with small steps. Another beautiful line shared from the Atomic Habits is tiny changes, remarkable results. So if you are wanting to learn to do karate or yoga, you have to practice day in, day out, small little steps that will help you grow and become stronger and perfect at it. So you have to persevere. If you don't persevere and commit and being disciplined, then it's not going to happen. Who's going to do it for you? No one. Okay, it's your dream, your goal, your desire. You want to do this, so you have to put in the work. Okay, you also will feel great when you start to accomplish those little steps. Again, I say small steps, little steps. When you start to commit yourself and persevere, then those little steps is going to be your little wins. And always remember to acknowledge those, because that is going to be your motivator to the next level. Okay? Now, lastly, I want to talk about discarding all the outside noise, the mind chatter, and every person who might try to persuade you that it is not possible or not worth a try. Discard all of this, because it is those influences from others, from society, from the subconscious mind, from past perspective, something a friend might have gone through, that is stopping you. So you have to start to put a stop to these, and by doing that, you can always place things in front of you, like your vision or your bigger why, your dreams, what you want and not what they want, right? You always have that on the forefront of your mind. You know, people will often come, you know, there are people with good intentions or bad intentions, but they're oftenly you will find people will try to pull you down or pull you away from your goal, your destination, right? From moving ahead, because maybe they didn't move ahead, so they don't want you to move ahead, because they might be fearful that you will, you know, do this thing that they were never able to do in their life, so, or something that they failed at. So just be aware of those people. They're very toxic. I've had to deal with that, because I've been, you know, it's very hard that when you get those negative comments. And one thing I always remember is that if you can't uplift someone, don't pull them down, regardless of where they are at in their life. You know, every person is growing at their own pace, and they have their own skills and talents and knowledge. And as humans, we should never be judgmental and try to pull anyone down, or try to distract them or persuade them that they're not good enough, or they can't do this, it's not possible, or they don't have the resources. So that is one. Just be aware of those people and keep them away. Talk to them, not saying delete them, but talk to them, but don't let their little talks pull you away from what you want to achieve, or what you want to do in your life. Once you can tap into your inner power, then you are the boss, and you can overcome fear, and nothing can no longer step in your way, whether it's mind chatter, it's people perspective, whether it's something that happened in the past, childhood trauma, whatever the case is. Once you tap into that inner power and you start to control you know, the things that comes to you, once you start to master that inner power, nothing can stop you, and you can start to build on that, and the fear of failure or the fear of not succeeding will be gone. There might be a little bit fear comes when we try new things, but as we continue to practice stepping out of our comfort zone, then it's like building a habit. Okay, so that's it for me. It's all about overcoming fear, and some of the things I did. to overcome fear in my life. Let me know if this was helpful, if this was something you resonate with, or if you find value here. I would love to share more content like this. If you have something that you are struggling with, perhaps I might have gone through it, I can share that with you. So do drop a comment if you have topics that you would like for me to cover on. Remember, these are all my stuff, but if you are asking something and I might have gone through, I'll be happy to share. Okay, thank you so much for watching. See you in my next one. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and leave a comment. Thank you so much. Bye. Sending you all lots of love.